Hail and hello, everyone. Welcome to the Random Heathen Ramblings podcast, a Midgard Musings production. Join me, Jesse, your host, as we discuss random heathen related topics and various other things in an attempt to find where, if any, heathen worldviews can be applied. You can support this podcast by clicking on the Linktree link in the description or show notes. You can also follow me on all of my social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and become a patron on Patreon. Join me every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central on all major podcast streaming platforms, including Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and many, many more. If you wish to have your voice heard on the Random Heathen Ramblings podcast, you can dial in to 615 671 9832. Thank you all once again for listening to the Random Heathen Ramblings podcast. Enjoy and hail to you all. Okay. And all right. Hail and welcome, everyone. Random Heathen Ramblings podcast is officially underway, and joined with me today is co-host. I don't even like the term guest anymore because you kind of help keep the flow going when you're here. Dingo is here with us today, so yeah.
Hello.
Co-host Dingo, what's up, man? Good seeing you again.
Yeah, man.
Always
a pleasure.
And it is a pleasure. It is an honor and a privilege, my good sir. Feels like a while since we've seen each other face to face. I think the last time we beheld each other's visage was during Sigerbloat.
I was gonna say it was Sigerbloat, wasn't it?
Yeah, beholding visage, right? That sounds more than what it actually is, but it's just when we saw each other's face. Which I did talk about on the last podcast. It seems like that's all you talk about is the tribal stuff or the events. I'm like, hey, it's something to talk about, right? It's like Bonnie Raitt, baby. Let's give them something to talk about. How about bloat, or how about cigar bloat, right? But it was good, and
it was a great time, man. Our best Wicker Man ever,
dude. I mean, we've got a tall order to fill next year. I am so proud of how that turned out.
Right?
I am so proud. Just from like the one year to the next, like looking back on the first one, I was like, wow, like it looked great at that time. And it is great because it was, the intent behind it all. But like just the construction of the latest one, the newest one was so, I don't know, man. It was like Patrick did a super job with the engineering of it all, getting the right pieces.
Next year we're gonna have to like build one of those like 20-foot ones like out in the yard, like not even in the woods, just
we
need ladders and shit.
Yeah. Stack up like pallets and stuff or whatever. Yeah. But it was.
Hang on 1 second.
That's all good. Got the
ye old AC just cut on and
cut on. Yeah. It'd be that time. It'd be that time of year. It'd be that time of year. So, but yeah, like I was talking on the podcast last week, and just for you, in case you missed it, like with Kaya reading the ritual, I mean, it lined up great with everything because like I saw a lot of people around that time talking about their rituals, and I remember seeing one person online, I don't even remember where or who, stressing a bit about, oh, I've got to lead this ritual, I've got to co-lead this ritual, and I'm nervous and this, and I'm like, hey, a 6-year-old can do it. Right. You can do it. Like, right. Don't stress it so bad. Job. Yeah.
She did a great job.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff to be proud of. And I'm super glad that we got to experience all that together. Missed Ken, I hope he knows that he was missed. So yeah. But that's how it goes sometimes, we do what we can, But aside from that, man, what else is going on?
Oh, well, today, Monday things.
Monday things. They be that they be. I mean, I don't know. The whole time thing is like,
Took Kaya to the arcade over the weekend. Had a good time. There's some pictures of that posted on my page. Definitely good times.
good,
Fun little play date. It was awesome.
good. Well, I'm glad, man. My weekend was spent with just chilling mostly. We went yard sailing. Not sailing on the yards in the sense of we didn't put ships or boats onto the yard, right? We went driving around
Get out the old land canoe.
yeah. Wasn't like that. The climate didn't suit us. There was not a lot of good headwinds. But no, we and I don't usually go, but Vanessa was like, "Hey, you want to get up to go?" They had like community yard sales,
Yeah.
and she and her parents usually go and stuff. I was like, "Well, I'm not going to get up early to do it," and we didn't. It was because we thought it was gonna rain, so we wouldn't even really plan that much for it. But we did end up going to some like community yard sales and spent time, with her folks for the latter half of the like later morning, early afternoon. And then the rest of the weekend was, just kind of chilling. I made this, rune set out of that redbud tree, which for everybody that's listening to the podcast, if you are not following me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or subscribe to the YouTube channel, then what are you doing with your life? First of all, number one. Number two, it's all posted there. Check it out. It was a redbud tree that was on my father-in-law's and where they live, a couple of lots down. They just needed to trim the tree and maintain the property line. So some of those limbs have been turned into one of the main limbs of the tree is going to become a tribal relic. So it's a staff. It's going to be a ritual staff. It's a Rauderblom, red flower staff. So, and then there's other pieces that I've used to make some rune sets. Well, one rune set. I think I have enough material to make at least another one, maybe two.
Nice.
But I don't use like Dremels or saws to cut the pieces. It's all hands on. Same same theme. With a lot of what we do with the tribe. Right. No power tools. Now I will say that part of the tree that I'm making them stuff from did get removed with a chainsaw. It was electric chainsaw because it's what my father-in-law had. And that was, for the sake of time and efficiency.
Right.
Let's make it a little bit easy on ourselves. But the rune sets themselves, like I, cut them into pieces by hand and use the wood burner to do it all, and then sanded them hand, smooth them all out and all that. So it's a lot of physical effort focused on with minimal power tools needed. But that was a fun project. So for everybody again listening, if you're looking to get a very unique rune set, these sets you can't buy online. Not that I know of. I've never seen or heard of redbud rune sets online. Speaking of my in-laws, by the way, it's pouring down rain outside, and here he comes. I can hear the dogs outside going crazy because he just let him in. I'm like, it's muddy and wet outside, and he comes over and lets him out. So now I'm going to have a nice mess to clean up in the floor, I'm sure, because of their muddy, wet paw prints.
Right.
But anywho, it's all good. The rune sets.
Dogs will be dogs.
Dogs are going to dog, man. I mean, that's what they do. Yeah. Potatoes going to potate, haters going to hate, and dog's going to canine. Canine's going to canine, I guess. I don't know.
Cat's good cat.
Yeah. We do what we do. And that's all right. I'd rather have that kind of mess. I mean, at least it's wholesome. It's, this house is a mess, but it's an organized mess, and it's a mess right. Because we coexist with the Vatir, And our
Right.
pets are representations, I think, oftentimes of the spirits that dwell within the home. They can manifest themselves through the pets, at least. They can make themselves known through the
Well,
behavior.
that's another fun thing, right? About Sigurd Blood. We got a new pet here from Sigurd Blood.
Mm, yeah,
We,
talk
we
about
got
that.
we
What
got
was that?
little Cosmo, little salamander. He looks like the Cosmos. He's black with little tiny white. He looks like the Cosmos.
Yeah.
And he's a cool dude.
Yep. I never seen one white like that. Like I remember finding salamanders and stuff in the wild, because you move rocks and limbs and stuff in those wet areas, and they're like pretty prolific, but uh I don't remember seeing one. And maybe it's a pretty common like coloration or markings, but the white spots on black body, I've never found one
Well, it
like
could
that.
be a couple of breeds. I'm pretty sure because of the area, it's most likely a South Appalachian salamander, but it
Okay.
could be a couple of different spotted breeds.
Okay.
The little guy's doing good, or gal, whichever it ends up being. It's too little for me to sex it, but
Right.
it's doing good. I got the little pinhead crickets that I've been feeding it.
Did your volume change or something? You kind of
It did
sounded a
for a
little.
second. I think we should be good now. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Is it better now?
Sounds like it was a little far away, but
Yeah, it may have been a little bit far away for a second.
okay.
My headset cut out for a second, so
Yeah. Yeah, it still sounds like you're a little bit low on the volume, but we'll make it work. But so yeah, I remember like from up north where I lived, the salamanders that were native had like almost orange skins. Like their skin was orange with black spots. Um, so I guess it's just maybe a native coloration thing.
I
But
see a
yeah.
couple of those around here, but I
Mm,
mean, there's a lot of different species, obviously.
yeah. So yeah, that's cool, right? The Vatir, I mean that's definitely something of the wild, the
Yeah.
living outside of the confines of the hearth. Um, so yeah, I don't know. This whole like family thing, it's kind of why I wanted to, or what I wanted to talk about today. Family, kin, um, blood, right? The connection that we have with family and how that connection can be uh, severed, disrupted, damaged, over time through actions, through deeds, and what that means to us as heathens specifically, because the family unit, I think the clan structure, is very old in its construct, right? Like it's the basis of where we find a lot of cultures. It's home is where the heart is. The hearth is sanctity. It's sacred. It's sovereign, right? And that extends beyond the immediate hearth and into the combined blendings of hearths. When families and clans blend and mesh, you have what becomes tribe, you know, and so the sovereignty, I guess that's the right word, the sovereign nature of it all is paramount. It means a lot to us, and when any of that sovereignty and then any of that sanctity gets damaged for whatever reason, like it hits such a nerve, so we see this a lot in heathenry and paganism in general, especially when there's um, dissension of the religious aspects of this whole thing, from Christian families, people that have come from Christian homes and Christian backgrounds, and people that are very devout and exclusive to their spirituality and their religious beliefs in that way. And I don't mean to like lump everybody into the same categories, because I've met and been introduced and am close to enough people who I would say are fundamentally Christian, um, but that are not so.
But not that way.
But that aren't just so, exclusive to the point where they condemn you, or they ostracize you, or they shun you for differing beliefs. They're accepting to the point, and they hold to their beliefs, and I congratulate that. Like, I 100% would not want anybody to stop being devout in their beliefs, just like I would expect the same respect from those. Like, hey, don't try to shoot me down for my approach to things, and I won't shoot you down for yours.
Well, Christianity has always been kind of an odd one for me. That it's the I've studied religion and culture since I was a kid. It's kind of a hobby. And Christianity is one of the very few that I've seen where you have like Christian on Christian hatred.
Mm.
And that's a very bizarre concept to me, of like you're not this, so you're going to hell. And I'm like, but you're all on the same team, right? Like, what?
Right. There's all
What are
the
you
different
doing?
isms, the different what do I call them? Sects, right? SECT,
Yeah,
sects. Uh
yeah.
Isms, I would call them. There's baptism,
Or I used to work with a girl that was like too Catholic for Catholics. And like I heard things like that a lot. I'm like, what does that mean? I don't.
I thought that was like the pinnacle of monotheism was Catholicism. Like, even though I will always contend that you're just relabeling paganism if you're Catholic. The saints were gods, the rituals were pagan rituals, and now you're just putting it into a church, a cathedral,
Right.
Relabeling it to fit the demographic.
Rituals and everything, but hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to a Catholic mass, you're still doing rituals, okay? Like that's what's happening.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that like you say, just from having come from a Christian background myself, and seeing the infighting, as it were, or the opposition from other, because I mean, I was brought up in a non-denominational, you know, uh, approach to the whole thing, and largely, no, I won't even say largely, entirely, like, other denominations of Christianity were considered wrong. Like, so it was, that there was wrong, there was wrong things with Baptists, there was wrong things with Pentecostals, there was wrong things with Presbyterians, Catholics especially. There was a palpable disdain for Catholics, and that might be a whole other. I might get Richard in on that one, because of the I don't know, man. There was like a whole like decade-long study in the church that I went to, devoted to like the Book of Revelations and the prophecies of the New Testament and some of that stuff, and like it was really fascinating if you look at it from a theological standpoint. But it all points back to, Babylon is Rome, the Roman Catholic Church, and the beast of the Revelation, the Antichrist, is a Roman Catholic Pope, and like all this like really wild stuff, man. And I just, when I look back at it all and see the pure disdain for not just other religions, non-Christian religions, but the disdain for actual other denominations within Christianity. It was like, well, it's either, you or nothing at that point.
Right.
Like, there's no room for there's no gray area. And the gray area is kind of where I want to focus on with this particular podcast, because the gray area exists. There are no absolutes, right?
Right.
In religion. Would you say that that's a fair statement? there's too many
Absolutely.
variables. There's too many things that you can't.
It's all gray.
It,
When you study it for long enough, you realize that it's all gray. There is no black and white. There is no good and evil. There, in a way, like it's all very much left to interpretation.
yeah. And I
And
mean,
even Christianity, thou shalt not murder, but like, okay, but God said you should murder your firstborn son. Like, wait a minute, what? How is this? It's gray. It
there's
depends.
caveats,
Conditional. Yeah.
it's, definitely don't do this. But at the same time, I want you to do this if they go against me.
Yeah.
Okay. That seems pretty egotistical, egomaniacal, even, of a deity, which, hey, let's call it the way it is. I mean, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is he's an egomaniac.
Yeah.
But, suffice that to say,
and that's cool. I mean, hey, do your thing, man. But
right. I mean, okay, like do your thing. But, and, the acceptance of it, the gray area. I wanted to mention something because, again, I'm going to speak freely here. And I know before we started airing this, you were like, hey, can I speak freely too? And I'm like, absolutely, because why else would we be here doing this if we couldn't? I had a recent, not even an interaction. I wouldn't even call it an interaction, but I noticed something recently, and I've talked here on this podcast, and Dingo, specifically because I confide in you a lot with things that I don't publicly share. But to the extent that I have talked about the estrangement that I've experienced with my family, my actual family, my blood family, my blood kin, the roots from which I've grown, literally, right? Parents,
right.
siblings, that sort of thing, and the estrangement that I've felt, and the excommunication that has befallen me for my beliefs, and kind of where I've fallen in that with how I feel with it all, accepting it, but still feeling the sting and the pain of, man, why does it have to be this way? So, I know, at least in the past, that members of my family see what I post. They see my YouTube channel. They've confronted me about my image, my looking possessed, right, because of the ritual attire that I wear or whatever. And I'm like, whatever. That's a thing. But so anyway, this is for them. This is for them, that if you're still watching, and if you're still enamored with what I do, and if you still have the spare time to want to be focused on what I do, then I'm still here. And so my sister, her husband, and my niece, their daughter, who will be turning a year next month. No, I believe next month. Next month or July. I'm trying to remember. I think she was born the end of June. So she's, right around almost a year old. I've never met her a day in my life. We were supposed to go up to New York to meet her, to be introduced and everything. And I was told that I wasn't welcome. And so, we're still connected on social media, and but haven't really talked to any great degree since. Anyway, noticed a post from my sister where they went to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Now, from where my siblings, where my sibling and her husband and their daughter live in New York still, to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, is about a 12-hour drive.
Yeah.
Put that in respect to where I live in Tennessee, is about a 13-hour drive from New York to there, from here to New York, so you're talking like an hour and a half to 2-hour difference, maybe, depending on when you stop, traffic, that sort of thing. They've never once taken a trip down to Tennessee to see me. And the nature of their trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, was to attend the funeral of my brother-in-law's friend's father. Not a family member. And I get it that family doesn't always mean blood, because that's what we're here to talk about. A
Right.
dear friend of his father died. They made a 12-hour one-way trip for the weekend or whatever, however many days, to, as he's put it, pay their respects, attend the service. Now, again, I'm looking at that and I'm going, my wife, your literal sister-in-law, their sister, you know what I'm saying? Their sister-in-law suffered a grievous family loss last year. And I did not expect, and I would not expect anybody to make a 12-hour long drive or 13-hour, 14-hour long drive to attend their services. But I sure as shit would have expected a message, a text, a card, or something in the mail to express condolences, because it wasn't concealed and it wasn't private, and it was very well known that this had happened. She suffered a tragic loss. I'm your literal brother. I'm your brother-in-law. You are kin and blood to me. You don't want to talk to me. You don't want me to have anything to do with your family because of, quite honestly, shallow, ignorant reasons. You're uneducated. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. And I'm here to put you in that place. But you will drive 13 hours to attend the funeral of your best friend's father. Good for you. Good for you for having a sense. Good for you for having an understanding of respect for the dead and respect for those who are nearest and dearest to you. Apparently, I don't fall in that category. I don't fall into the category of nearest and dearest, even though I've literally been with you your whole life, even though I'm the one who was your nearest and dearest friend for most of your life, even though that despite the mistakes and stuff that I've made amends to correct those things to be near and dear to you once again. And having done that and having been true to myself and expressed myself in my true form, have been excommunicated and have been denied that opportunity to meet my niece, my blood, my own kin. I've been disallowed the opportunity to be tied in that sort of way. And I'm going to get real and I'm going to say, what's that?
Like that I'm gonna get real too, cause like that last one, the whole photo shoot thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was a black metal artist for 10 years. I played black metal and doom metal. I had a noise ambient project. I was at Wooden with the. It's all showbiz.
Yeah,
it's showbiz.
It's theater.
Do you think I like go to work in corpse paint? No.
Be a lot cooler if you
like,
did.
It would, but I don't, because that stuff tastes terrible and it's annoying to put on. But you know what I mean? Like, it's showbiz. Like,
yeah,
it was a promo. I viewed that like a promo shoot for that. I would do any kind of photo shoot for any kind of art project that I've been involved with. I've done music videos, I've done photo shoots, I've interviews, all the things, and it's showbiz. In order to promote whatever media you're putting out, you have to make it interesting. You have to act.
Yeah,
it's acting. It's showbiz. It's not.
And in the religious or the spiritual aspects of it, it's the ritual theater parts of paganism are very well celebrated. I feel there's a lot of dress the part. It's kind of like this right now. You think I walk around town looking like a fucking druid?
Yeah.
Or right. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't dress like this all the time. I mean, it would be neat, but it's not practical and it doesn't work. And it's not, this is a thing. This is again, it's theater. It's for the entertainment factor, and it doesn't take away from my true self, but it's just part of myself. It's one of the parts of myself.
Yeah.
you know? And
I
I
mean,
don't know.
it's not at all like the actress that played the Wicked Witch in Wizard of Oz. She was a school teacher or librarian. I can't remember which, but like did all kinds of things with kids, and like it damn near ruined her career
Oh, I'm sure,
because
especially at the
kids
time.
were afraid of her. And she's like, I'm just playing a part. It's okay. I'm
Yeah.
not scary. You know,
Yeah.
like, right? Like,
Yeah. Especially the time, the time that, was that the 30s,
yeah,
something like 30s,
yeah,
40s. Just considering like the culture at the time and the way the world was, just like, that was like, whew, pretty brave. Um,
yeah.
but
But yeah, like, would you get mad at an actor for playing the role of a villain
right.
or whatever, like, or even the good guy, but they've got blood spattered all over their face, like,
Yeah. And
why the blame? Why the hatred toward that? I don't get it.
and I I reached the point last year where I felt like I had put it to bed, that I had put the whole, um, the estranged relationship and how it affected me and how it impacts me on a day to day basis, that had been laid to rest. I felt like at the time I was over it and that I was no longer affected by it. And I would be lying if I said that seeing that didn't hurt and doesn't hurt. And I'm kind of in a position right now where I'm opening this up in a way to offload, vent, but also to share for awareness and welcome input. How do we deal with this? How do we deal with the repeated, because look, I put myself through the potential distress by remaining connected with them, by having them
Yeah.
on my Facebook, by having them on my social media, by staying visible to them in this way. And so, could it be argued that, well, if you really and truly were over it, then you would sever all ties and you would just literally cut the head off of the thing and then be done with it? That's really hard to do. That's really hard for me to do, at least, because
I mean, it's your sister, man. Like,
right, like, I don't want to I don't want to be the one to do that. I don't want to be the one that said, I'm done with you, goodbye, because I still have family that's there. My dad, who I've not talked to for a long time, who I used to talk to almost every day, is, not in good health and hasn't been for a very long time. And I don't know when that day will ever come when he's moving on. Right. I don't want to be disconnected or disassociated and separated. I don't want to be the one to do that, because I just don't want to think about what that's going to feel like. You know what I mean? Like, I'm being visceral and I'm being real to the point where it's like, I just kind of need a little bit of, I'm the one that's asking for some insight here. I'm the one that's asking for some, uh, how do you cope with it? Here's how I'm doing it. I'm doing it right now by anonymously, not even anonymously, but I'm like, whether you see this or not, Bree, Darren, Mom, Dad, Dom, Danielle, all of yous, whether you see it or not, this is what I'm saying. This is how I feel. But is it the best way? Could I be doing it better? You know?
I don't know if there's an answer to that.
I know, right?
Like,
maybe that answer, maybe an answer is not the answer for me. Right. It's probably
there's
specific.
too many factors, like
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't force other people to be okay, or what. You can't dictate how other people perceive something or feel about something. That's not for you to do. That's for them to do.
Yeah. Part of
And
me,
that's kind of what sucks about it, because you're over here like, I want things to be good and to work out, but if the other
I
side
want
is
things
not,
to be, I do.
it's kind of, ugh, what do you do?
I want things to work, and they obviously don't, otherwise we wouldn't be in this situation. And so I'm left with the decision, I'm left with the thoughts that mull in my mind is like, okay, then what am I even doing, perpetuating something that is causing me so much distress?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very weird place to be in. And I feel like a lot of folks find themselves in a similar scenario and are looking for, you know, guidance. And here, everybody listening, watching, right? Here's a classic example of there's almost no one right answer. There really isn't, because in some cases, yes, the best thing to do is just, again, cut the head off, walk away, be done with it. But is that the right thing to do in every case? What other factors are there? You know, there's so many things that I don't know, man. Like, I feel like it's one of those things where you kind of have to bear that burden in a way yourself. You have to walk solitary in that way. You can have support from your community, and you have support from tribe and all that to just be able to offload and vent. But at the end of the day, what are you going to do about it? Your decision is going to ultimately be the thing that um, ends up in the well. And we've talked about that plenty of times here too on this podcast and other content as well. That, you know, the layers of Orlog and what we lay down in the well, what becomes.
He always said, "What are you going to do about it?"
Who said that?
You know, my great grandfather used to always say that. What are you going to do about it?
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like such a simple statement, but it's not. It's a very complex thing to say. You know, like, okay, so what can you do? You don't
Mm-hmm.
like something, how do you fix it? What can you do? And is what you're going to do in vain? Are you just going to be flogging a dead horse? Or what are you going to do? Change
Yeah.
it. If you don't like it, change it, make it better. And it's not always that easy, though, you know, but you still have to consider what you can do, what you're capable of changing. You can't change everything, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
do you remember the story I was telling you about? Wow, this is gonna get bad. About my ex-wife and getting mad at me about the movie Melancholia.
Uh, I think it seems somewhat. I think I remember.
Basically, there's an asteroid coming to Earth, and like it's like bigger than the moon, and everybody's gonna die, you know. And she was so mad at me that I said that I wouldn't try to change the path of the asteroid. And I'm like, but it, what do you want me to do? Like, it's an
I mean, if
asteroid.
it's
I
inevitable.
can't fix that.
Yeah.
Like, so like, it is, what are you going to do about it? But what are you capable of doing? You know, you can't move mountains
How
necessarily.
big is the thing that you're trying to battle or face? I mean, if it's and that's a really good point. Some things just can't be undone. Some things are just what they are, like you say. I mean, a massive force like that. I mean, it's kind of like the Ragnarok thing, right? I mean, it's inevitable, has been.
Yeah.
There is no changing the fate, no matter how. And Odin has um known by many names, you know, being the mad one, because of his focus on trying to change the inevitable, trying to change the destiny, the fate, the ultimate thing that he is destined to endure. But the effort to try and change it has driven him mad. And I feel, as I talk through this, that I'm touching a little bit into that realm
Yeah.
of the madness, of the just, because it's so consuming. You know, when you are impacted in such a way by someone else's actions, how much power do they have over you?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, without them even trying, they have cast a spell of control over you, because I'm sitting here talking about it and I'm venting to the public about it. And I'm here, podcasting about this whole thing because I felt like it's a relevant topic of conversation, and we all feel it. And then, so is this, in a way, is this a counterspell? Is this a way to release that from a lot of us?
Yeah, why not try? I mean,
Why not try? What have we got to lose?
right.
What have we got to lose, and what do we have to gain? And that is, I think, up to each and every one of us, and on an individual level, utilizing the resources that we have, the support that we have from where we have it, whether it's, online communities, whether it's local grassroots tribes, whether it's whatever it is, right? Because otherwise, man, it's gonna eat us up. I reached the point last year at that, right around November, and you know what I'm talking about, where everything just kind of got reset, and I was like, okay, it doesn't really matter. It's all good. It is what it is. And slowly here and there, things are creeping in, and it's like, yeah, but does it? Are you really okay?
Right.
And I'm like struggling to find that place again where I was like, yeah, I really am okay. It really doesn't matter. I get it. And what it is, what it is. Right. ESOS, what is it? SOCKS is what it is. I mean, it just is what it is. But man, it's so easy to say. And I guess when you talk through it and you find that place where you were to feel it, that it is what it is, and you're just like, yeah, whatever. You're able to reminisce and recall that experience. But I'll tell you what, boy, during it all, and when you are exposed to it in the moment, it really hits hard, man. It hits such a nerve. I don't know. It's
I mean, all the planning and training and whatever, when you hit that moment with anything,
it challenges you, right? It puts it to the test.
Yeah. That
Wow.
you never know how, I've been asked that question before about like random hypotheticals, like what if somebody did this or whatever, and it was like, well, here's what I would like to think I would do, but in that moment, you don't really know unless you've been in that moment before.
Yeah, it's again,
like, what would you do if somebody pulled a gun on you? Well, I had somebody, with a gun 3 or 4 years ago, and I had no idea I knew what I thought I would do. And honestly, I did. I went out way cooler than I thought I would, honestly, because I was like, go ahead, shoot me. You're going to shoot, because it was over celery at the restaurant I was managing, And
you got a gun pulled on you over celery?
Well, he had it like in his jacket, but I could see like the outline of the metal and everything in his jacket. And he's like, I'll shoot you, man. And I'm like,
over celery,
dude. Like, really? You're going to go to jail over celery? Really? Like, you're going to get your ass beat in jail over celery. Like, they're going to make fun of you, man. And I was like, dude, my life is a cesspool right now. Shoot me. Go for it.
I'll die over this stalk, damn it.
I don't care about your celery. I don't care about you. I barely care about myself currently in my life right now. Like,
this sofrito don't mean shit to me, bro.
Out. But like, really, man? Like,
man, you know what though? I can't even imagine being a point in my life where I would be willing to fight or kill somebody over a stalk of celery.
Right.
Like, I don't care how bad it's going for me.
That's kind of why I reacted in the way that I did, because I was just like, really?
I mean, I've had my life threatened a number of times just because of the line of work that I've been in.
Right.
But I remember being cut off in traffic at like 6 o'clock in the morning on my way to on my way to work. And I'm like, the guy cut me off in it was a clear like he clearly like violated traffic rules to do it,
Cause I'm like, you could have just moved over. He's like, I'll kill you right here. He like got out of his truck. He's like, I'll shoot you right here, you son of a bitch. And I'm like, okay, then do it, I guess. But I mean, I got places to go. So are you going to do it? Or are you going to like, it was so weird. Like the way, like
Yeah.
that flex, that whole thing over something that doesn't really mean a whole hell of a lot
Yeah,
at
it's
the end of the
so
day.
insignificant. Like, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, so what? You cut me off, damn it. Like, why? If
Right.
anybody should be wanting to hurt somebody, it's me. You know, when you're over here, like, I'll kill you. Why? For you breaking the law, you dumbass? Like, shit.
Right.
Like, and I say, you know, it's just, it's nuts, man.
You know, like I had to explain that to my little girl yesterday. Like, she got really mad about socks or something ridiculous and just lost her mind. You know, and I said, hey, do you remember last night when you were playing in the playground area at the arcade and that little girl was pushing your friend Michael? And she said, yeah. And I said, you can get mad about that. You can get mad when somebody is trying to hurt somebody you care about or trying to hurt you. You're allowed to get mad. You're allowed to have that anger and all of it.
Yeah.
But this is socks, man. Like, it's really why this rage over something so insignificant at the end of the day? You're right. Yeah.
It's, you know, so I get, you know, I get it. It's, you know, everything's relative to at the end of the day, you know, what are you going to let dictate how you feel? And I admit, like, I saw that and I saw the responses and I was like, you got to be kidding me. You mean to tell me that you would drive 13 hours one way to visit your best friend's dad's funeral and you won't even come down here and say hi and let me meet my niece one time over the last year? You kidding me? I am offended. And hey, I guess I have that right. But at the end of the day, what is it really? I mean, what does this accomplish? Because look, Bree, Darren, like, I mean, that's your kid. That's their daughter, man.
Right to be. That is right. I mean, you're right to be mad about that. I think, though. I mean, that's worth.
You know, I mean, whether I'm right or not, I guess it is what it is. But you know, it's their daughter, and they're doing the best they think that they're doing. And I, you know, who could be mad about that? You know, like that's their kid, and they have her best interest in mind. And if their child's best interest is to refrain from meeting someone like me, who's, you know, I mean, look at me. Ooh, yeah. Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that is in the best interest of their daughter. And you know, again, like I told you, I'm kind of going to go no holds barred, you know, like as a parent, like my daughter adores you. And like, she's told me multiple times that she feels safe around you, specifically safe, you know, that you're like family to her. And like, why would they want to rob their daughter of that? That's where I have a problem, because it's another place of safety, of comfort, of family. It's a place to go, it's a place to be, a place to belong and be accepted no matter what. And why would they want to take that away from her?
Yeah. I mean, because look, I mean,
because you wore a robe and, you know, fucking whited your eyes out in a promo photo. Whoop-de-doo. Like,
I could do it again too. Watch. You know,
I've done blood covered photo shoots, and I went through a divorce.
Yeah.
Did any of that even bite me in the ass in court? No. Like, it doesn't matter. Amazing. Like, it's so silly that they would rob her of this place of refuge and safety over nothing.
Yeah. Oh well. I guess
So
I'm
mad for you as a parent. I'm mad for you.
I know you are, brother. Yeah, I know. Like, and you're not the only one. I mean, you're not the only one, because again, I offload a lot of this type of stuff internally to, you know, my wife and my in-laws and stuff, who, you know, again, they don't necessarily 100%. Like, my father-in-law was sitting here the other day, and I had the runes from the tree that I helped him cut up on his property. the runes are sitting in a bowl and I had just finished them. And he's like, "Oh, is that the thing you made? Is that the thing you made from the tree?" I was like, "Yeah." And there's some more of the branches over there. He's like, "Oh, okay, cool." I mean, like, just totally cool about it. I'm like, these people don't
Yeah,
know
I
anything
mean,
about this whole thing. And
and
they're,
I was gonna say, and
fundamentally
he's not
Christian and
a Norse pagan, and yeah, like
want like so accepting of it because it doesn't, I mean, I'm not hurting anybody. If anything, I'm displaying the fact that I get off from work on my spare time, right? I like got off of work today before the rain kicked in unannounced to mow yards because that's what I'm doing. That's part of the maintaining the literal maintenance of the yards, the family unit,
yeah,
right? Like it's part of the physical deeds to do it all. It's like that's what I'm gonna do, and that's what I've agreed to do, and that's I don't need a medal for that. I don't need to be, oh, good job. Like, well, congratulations for doing your job. Like, I don't believe in that. Like, I don't need that sort of validation. But the fact of the matter is like, I'm not just some degenerate, you know, esoterical maniac that's like so disconnected from life because of all the drugs that I've done or whatever. You know what I
right.
mean? Like, it's nothing like that. Like, I'm with it in my mind and in my heart to the extent that, okay, so just because I have a different view on my religion or my spirituality and it's alternative in that way doesn't just inherently make me a bad person. I mean, shit, like I literally spent a whole year's vacation, a week and a half's worth of time to help them out,
Yeah,
to help my family out up there, right? I mean, it's literally that wholesome. It's literally that where I don't get it. I don't get the fact that you're going to erase all of that and focus on the fact that you don't believe in God. First of all, I believe in the fact that he exists. I just don't subscribe to the beliefs of the adoration and the veneration of that specific deity. It doesn't align with what I want to
right.
do. So anyway,
Yeah, it's kind of like the jealous girlfriend. It's like, oh, I bet you're screwing around on me tonight, and in reality, like you're literally sitting on the couch eating Fruit Loops, watching Looney Tunes.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, right, yeah,
like with Kitty next to you, and
yeah,
it's the most dull, mundane, boring thing
yeah.
possible. And
It reminds me of those. It reminds you, yeah, it reminds me of those memes where like me as a pagan, what the world thinks I do, what my girlfriend thinks I do, what my family thinks I do, what I actually do. When it's
yeah,
all different frames of things that kind of like
what you actually do, you're like sitting next to a fire, just staring into it, but they think
yeah,
you're like killing goats and
or
shit. Like,
sleeping, or whatever, reading a book, something so
yeah.
just inherently harmless. Yeah. It,
Or like the whole gay agenda thing. And they're like,
yeah.
like
Like, what did you?
what's the gay agenda? I don't know. We're getting tacos tonight. Like, what do you? That's my
Yeah.
agenda.
I'm trying to look like RuPaul 24/7. No, like
Right?
just
No, that's not. Where do y'all come up with this shit? Because I didn't come up with it.
I've had to really like think about lately about the whole perception is reality thing.
Yeah.
And it's such a unfortunate aspect, perception is reality. What is perceived, you could be looking at dead ass facts straight in the face. But
Yeah.
if the perception of something is different than what the facts are, then the facts don't mean nothing.
Right.
It's
That's a philosophical conversation that I've had with many people about truth. I don't know what truth is because your truth is different than my truth. The truth
yeah,
is relative. And you could say no, but there's the facts. But yeah, people still don't accept that. You're right. So that's not truth to them.
yeah,
It's about perception. Like I've had people despise me for things that I never did in my life.
mhm.
Never. It never happened. And they're so convinced that I did those things
Oh yeah,
that they hate me. but it never happened. So they're hating me for no reason. What kind of truth is that? There is no truth to that because it never occurred.
Yeah.
But it occurred in their brain so much. That's their truth.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not my truth.
You tell yourself a little lie enough
And
times, you
that's
start
not
believing it.
the truth. The truth is my truth, your truth, and everybody else's put together. That's reality. That's what real truth is. But it's so muddled, it's hard to keep up with, you know. And again, it doesn't matter because there's the me that I see in me, and there's the me that my mom sees in me, and there's the me that you see in me. There's the me that my daughter sees in me. There's the me that my girlfriend sees in me. There's all these different me's, and they're all me, and I'm that way
Mm-hmm.
with all of it, but none of those are actually me. That's where that truth lies. Is it's very, very difficult to define because again, those are all me, but that's not necessarily the truth of the matter.
Yeah. It's the version that you get in that moment. Yeah. It's the complexities of the self, the soul complex, you know, and just how deep does it go? You know, how do you want to project?
Yeah. And you can even project in a way that you see you're projecting in one way, but it can be perceived in a completely different way. And so your projection that you're giving out isn't even necessarily truth either, because it's being received in a way you didn't mean for it to be.
True.
It all gets extremely complex.
Yeah. Can confirm, you know.
There is no reality in a sense.
Yeah. All of this is just a bunch of baloney.
Yeah.
This whole thing is just a mess. I didn't sign up for this. Who put me here?
Yeah. Why are you wearing that stupid human suit?
What is this breathing thing? Why do I even have to do this?
Yeah. Bullshit.
So it's so cumbersome. Right? Oh man.
Or my favorite acid bath line, you know, that it's maddening, always touching something.
Shit. Yes.
You know, you're just always why? Why can I not just like be?
I know. That would be grand. If I could just forget about this whole like body, like having to eat when I'm hungry. Like, why can't I just like run around in the forest? Why can't I just scream in the forest? And why can't my best friend be a frog? Or, you know, or whatever. Like, what, you know,
I mean,
why can't I just go nuts sometimes and not have anybody check in on me? Like, it's cool, man. I'm fine. I'm just being me. I'm just screaming into the void right now. It's cool.
Right.
You know, nothing to worry about here. It's just business as usual.
Going to hang out with Jeremiah the bullfrog in the woods. And
right. The salamander gets it. Trust me. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The scorpions get it for sure. You know, they're like, leave me alone. I hate you.
For sure. Yeah. you ain't telling nothing to the scorpions that they don't already know. Right.
Right.
Same old story.
You touching me. Why are you touching me?
The song remains not the same.
Yeah. Just put a cricket in here. Don't touch me. Don't look at me. Don't spray any water in here. I don't need water.
Never mind. You don't have to bother me now. Story of my life, you know. I'm over here shitting my pants. Never mind. You don't have to bother me now.
Yeah. And then you got the tarantula over here too. And every time you open the cage, she just scurries into her little hole. She's like, "Fuck this, I'm out." She's like,
that
you hear people say like, "I don't want to people today." She never wants to people ever.
Yeah.
Like,
is that an arachnid trait or is that just a tarantula trait?
It's mostly arachnid, but spiders for sure are like, no,
yeah.
I'm out. Spiders are way more afraid of you than you are of them. I promise
you.
It's
Like, oh God,
interesting owning these different pets, talking about perception, because it's like I'm learning different perspectives on life. I get the lizard perspective, I get the snake perspective, I get the salamander perspective, because I have to take care of them. I have to pay attention to how they are and what they do and what they need,
they're so
because I have to take
environmental.
care of them.
Yeah, they're so reliant on the environment. Like,
Yeah,
they adapt to the environment, but they are reliant on the environment. Their manners, their behaviors are reliant on the just what's around them,
yeah. And it's
and it
it's
shifts.
fascinating to me, since I've had all of these exotic critters, because it's like psychology. It really is. It's helped me think about the world in a different way and from those different perspectives, and
Mm,
having that different perception. Like I was talking about the tarantula, like she just scurries into her hole every time, and she's like, "Oh, I'm scared. Don't."
mm,
And like I kind of feel bad for her, like I put a cricket in a cage to feed her, and she's terrified.
huh.
And so, like, I have to scare the absolute hell out of her in order to feed her. And that's a weird place to be psychologically. Like, I've thought about it like that. Like, what if my life was like that, where if I had to go through fear in order to eat?
Mm,
Which, if you think about on a primitive level, when you
mm.
have to kill to eat, yeah, you go through fear in order to eat.
Yeah. Am I gonna
But we
die
don't
trying to
think
get
of
this
life
meal?
like that because we just go to the grocery store, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And primitive lifestyle simulating that thing here in modern times is, I mean, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a very focused approach to existence to
Oh,
recreate
yeah.
that and to simulate that, because it's not what we've had to do for a very long time as a species,
Yeah.
but it is inherently a part of our being, I think. I mean, it lies deep down inside of us at a primal layer, like we're capable of a lot more than we give ourselves credit for,
Yeah.
you know. Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't deal with it, I can't. Yes, you can, and yes, you
Yes,
will
you
if you are
can.
pushed into a corner. When
Yeah.
you need to deal with it, you will deal with it. Trust me, you will. May not feel like it in the moment, but you're either going to die not dealing with it, or you're going to fight to deal with it. Like it's
Yeah.
there. It's just
That's some
buried.
dad stuff for me too. Like I get that a lot from Kaya, and like,
Mm,
Dad, I can't do this. Yes, you can. Like on our hike at the battlefield, and she's like, I can't go any further. Like, yes, you can. You got to keep going. We got it. We can do it. And
yeah.
she made it. And now she knows she can make it.
Yep.
She passed that test. She went through that.
Learn that lesson. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a
you
good
can push yourself further than you think you could.
yeah, 100%. And that's a kind of a neat thing. If you guys wanted to, I talked about earlier, um, about Cody Shaffer's musical project called Eldervach. So Cody Shaffer, if I'm mispronouncing Cody, my apologies. Um, has an online presence through his YouTube channel, which I'm going to be linking in the description, sharing in the show notes. All of it's going to be shared here. Has a musical project called Eldervach. He also does his online crafting business called Sacred Wolf
Yeah.
Divination.
There's some
And
cool stuff in there.
definitely cool stuff. And Cody's got this here, which is a track called Excursion. I think he wrote it specifically for someone, but it's for use. And I was gonna play it if you guys are cool with it. You cool with it, man? If we
Yeah.
play it here. So again, this is Eldervach. Check him out on YouTube. This is the track Excursion. And let me pause for a second. The intro is the narrative. It's a poem being narrated by J.M. Olafson, Fjallvetir Workshop. I've talked about him plenty of times. You guys ought to know. Good friend of ours, near and dear friend of the tribe, kin to us, has produced products that are tribal relics. and he's reciting a poem that he wrote, and he's speaking, I believe it's Swedish, but the intro, the narration that you hear is J.M. Olofsson.
Hesten vändade stranden. Vrid sedan, vrida baksidan, anbuden. Innan molnen, overdoma. Hast i himlen, överraskar, skall nystar, ljusare i natten. Lovblåser från tranden som ljusar förbi. Vår egen mörka mot jorden. Jorden trampas ner, faller sin sönder. Ryggen spinjorna och som Rydjorden
Oh man. Yeah, so guys, check out Alderbach on YouTube, Facebook. I think that's the extent of the social media presence that he's got, at least on that musical project. But I love that, man. I don't know what you guys think. What'd you think, Dingo?
No, I dig it for sure.
Super cool, man.
I love how the drums are like almost industrial,
Yeah,
and
like his
a little
his
bit of a different element.
yeah, the
to-
studio work is stellar. You know, just the production quality. You know, you can tell he knows his way around producing music.
Yeah, he knows his way around a board.
Yep. Um, so you know, support him.
That's something I'm going to be critical of, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. I know. You know that you come from it, or come to it from that perspective, as a musician yourself, and I just was wanting to. I don't know. We were talking just it seemed like it fit, like the segue of things. It fit well
Yeah.
into the discussion. So Cody's projects, Sacred Wolf Divination, Eldervok is going to be annotated in the show notes description of the video. So good job, Cody, man. Like just he does cool stuff too. He does what are those things called? The oh man, they're drums, but it's the steel drums, not steel drum. It sounds like a steel drum, but you hit it with your hands. You know what I'm talking about? Those like dome things.
Yeah, there's several different versions of those, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Water drum. I don't know. It's whatever it is. But anyway, he does that too. I don't know. It's just check it out. Real good. Real
part
cool.
of the world you're talking about.
Yeah. But it's really good stuff. So yeah. Anything else that I missed? I kind of offloaded a bit before. Was there anything else that you were wanting to touch on this topic or topics?
I think we pretty much hit it.
Yeah. Cool.
What else do you say? Like, what are you gonna do about it? Do the
What
things.
are you gonna do about it?
And you know what, man? Like, just do the things. And if you do the things, I know I'm meaning that a little facetiously, so to speak, or like vague, but do the things, and you're fine. Like, what else can you do besides what you can?
Yeah.
Maybe a little circular logic there, but like
It's no, I mean it resonates. Do something, do the thing. It's repeated throughout different sagas. It's repeated in the lore and even in Havamal. Like, I mean, it's better to do something. Action is better than inaction. Stagnation doesn't bode well for the luck, for overall luck for yourself, for the tribe, for that, so it's, whatever you do, think about it. But take ownership of it, basically, is what I guess is the
perception, right? Like not gonna mean a lot to people that aren't from around here, but Kaya goes to a Franklin school. Franklin as some of you may know that aren't from around here, in the news pretty recently, several times. It's a very hoity-toity area of Tennessee.
Yeah. Brentwood,
and we had the daddy-daughter dance a couple weeks ago, and Kaya, it was an 80s theme, and the main thing Kaya knows about the 80s is punk rock. So I went dressed in Misfit style with the devil lock in the front, like the
Yeah.
works. You saw the pictures, like
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
Battle vest, spikes on the vest, and like it's these Franklin people, and like they have no idea how to handle that. I don't give a shit. That's what my daughter wanted, and if you got a problem with it, you can take it up with her, because I don't give a shit about your perception. I care about hers.
Yeah. And it's what she wanted.
And it's like, like as a parent, you know, you're judged constantly on this or that, and if you're a good parent or not. And my daughter thinks I'm a good dad. That's what matters to me. I don't care what anybody else thinks. I'm not their dad, but she thinks I'm a good dad. So there you go. That's kind of what I have to say about perception, you know.
And
I do the things as a dad, and she sees that, and she knows that, and she thinks I'm a good dad. And I don't have to prove myself to anybody else about being a good dad, you know.
no, that's valuable. I mean, what is family, right? Family is the people who love you for who you are, that accept you for who you are, that call you out on your baloney and your BS, that have your best interests in heart, and that are wanting to be there for you. And I know it's cliche, right? Oh, you say, oh, family isn't always blood, right? You know, yeah, but in reality, yeah, I mean that's actually true. That is, you know, it's your family is not always your blood. And here's a classic example. I mean, my family, my blood family, who I owe much of my life to, have drifted. There's you know, against my best wishes, you know, and against what I always wanted. And sometimes you just got to accept it, and accept the family that are there for you, like you and Kaya and my wife and her parents and Patrick and Ken and these other people who are.
I mean,
like I don't have a. I'm not
I
lacking
call you
for
brother
family
because we've done the things, right?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah,
proven yourself to me in that manner, and
right,
and vice versa. And, you know, like that's a thing.
yeah.
It's a thing. Take a drink, all of you.
Yeah, shout out Eric Shervin, right? Love that guy too. I mean, man, I you know, everybody, you know, that doesn't follow Eric's stuff. I mean, he is, and I'm going to say this unequivocally, he is one of the main reasons why I'm still doing what I'm doing the way that I'm doing it. He has always been an inspiration for me, and I know he's going through a lot, and is, you know, had a lot of things come up in his life and with his, you know, family, his tribe and stuff that have shifted a lot of his focus on things. But that does not take away from the cut of his jib and the character of the man that he is, and why I feel so inspired by someone like him, you know. So
even
yes,
more
absolutely.
So that he's doing the things for the family, you know, like
yeah. You definitely don't see that much content from him nowadays because he's got to do the thing. He's got to be there for his hearth, his tribe, and he's got to, you know, he holds a position of authority in his tribe, and he has to do his thing, and he has to preserve that luck. So much respect to him. But as you know, just from one content creator to another, if nothing else, just give him the support, watch his stuff, check him out. It helped me. It has helped me. It continues to help me. And I'm sure that you will find benefit and value to the stuff that he talks about and the things that he presents in his own way. He's very humble, and always is on the real with us, you know, not he ain't playing no games, you know. So I definitely appreciate that.
I've never met the man in real life, but he's good people.
Not yet. I haven't either yet, but I, you know, come close a couple of times. It just, you know, things didn't line up just right, but it'll happen one day. I mean, when it's meant to be, it will be. But in the meantime, you know, we out here doing the thing.
Right. Do the things.
Right. Do the thing. So that was a great episode, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and tie this one off. And you know, there'll be a question about this, you guys. You know, the Spotify listeners and stuff. There'll be an interactive question about this. Feel free to interact in that way with your own thoughts. Always comment down below in the, you know, the comment section of the actual video on YouTube. And if you want
comment,
to have
like, subscribe.
Yeah.
All the things.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe, follow, whatever, you know, do all those things. And there's always the email. You can write in if you have a long list of things that you want to share. You can always write in, you can call in, whatever. But yeah, definitely voice your thoughts. And I feel this is another great episode, man. I appreciate you helping me co-host this one tonight, because we covered a lot of ground, and I think talked about some really good things and valuable things. So I appreciate you.
Sure.
You know, so for all of you out here listening and watching today, thank you for your constant support. Be sure to give that video a thumbs up, upvote the podcast wherever you're listening to it on, and stay tuned for next week's episode, which will be as random as it was today. We kind of go off the cuff on some of these things, so we'll see what comes up on the agenda for next episode. So thank you to my good friend, my brother Dingo, and co-host on the Random Heathen Ramblings podcast, and for all of you out here listening and watching, may the gods continue to notice you and walk with you, and may your ancestors always smile upon you. Take care.